Hi, this is Jeff from the Ozark Mountains in Missouri, USA. We've got kind of a quick repair video here today. Here I have two different generations of the Radio Shack Kameleon remote control. I think Kameleon also sold them under their own name. Yep, this just has the Radio Shack part number on it. This is the original one I got probably, I don't know, 30 years ago. And as you can see, it's a little worse for the wear. It started falling apart. And it looks like I left the batteries in it. Oops, I don't know how long those have been in there. And about 23 years ago, I got this. I know that kind of precisely because it's when I moved into this house. Got this newer version of it. And as you can see, physically it looks okay. And well, with all this light, we can't see the backlight on here. Let me shut off some of the lights. Okay, here we go. So you can see the lights up in this area are not lighting up. Let me see if I can zoom in. Yeah, you see how all this is lit up here, but we're missing a bunch of segments here. And if I play with this long enough, sometimes it'll come back on. So I'm hoping we just have a nicked trace there. So let's go ahead and pull this thing apart and see what we can find in that area of the board. Okay, so I need to take the batteries out. Now, this battery compartment is, the door at least, is a terrible design. You can see this big blob of epoxy I have in here. This is broken several times, and I finally super glued it back in place and then made a big fillet in here of a plastic epoxy, and that's lasted several years that way. And also notice, oops, let's get it in frame here, where it says JP1 right here. Years ago, some smart folks figured out that this went right to the EEPROM that stored the codes that were sent out when you pressed buttons. And somebody developed a really quick and easy circuit you could make to connect to a parallel port, you know, on an old computer like an XP class computer. And it made it a lot easier to program these. And that's how I originally set this up. I've had the same AV equipment for 15 years at least. So I haven't needed to change it. And of course on, you know, newer computers, you're not going to be able to use the parallel port for that, but I'm sure it can still be done. Could probably just do it with a regular EEPROM programmer. I'm not sure if that software is still available. I should look and see. If I find it, I'll put it in the description down below. Don't believe I've ever had this apart before, because I don't remember a thing about how to take it apart. Okay. That just slides off of there, and that slides off of there. Just a nice aluminum extrusion there. This is the section of the board we have the problem with. We have a chip marked PAM. Battery holder here. Some parts, part of a power supply. There's another little board mounted on top here. Okay. Can we slide that off? I don't know. This has got some metal grippy things on the edges here, I guess, so it slides into that aluminum better. Maybe holds tight. Got some tape along the edge here too. There's no other fasteners I see in here. There's no hidden screws under any stickers. So I'll play with this a little bit and then turn the camera back on. Okay, it seems like this is two pieces right here. I'm trying to get a spudger in here to pop these apart. And it doesn't want to cooperate. Ouch! Oh, that's going to leave a mark. Okay, so this is the plan now. I'm going to try to separate this seam because you can't slide this off because this piece hits that daughter board that's on there. And I'm bleeding. Okay, on this side I put a spudger right in here and twisted and it popped that loose. So we'll try that here. Ah, okay, gosh. Bit of controlled destruction. Ouch, jabbed myself again. Okay, so I think those were glued together. Never intended to come apart. And hooray, we have this giant thingamabobby here board. This just goes up to a piezo. So this has got some connections here, some hot glue there. There's a big coil or something in there. And evidently all the LEDs must be mounted under this plastic. So this thing was never meant to be repaired. This is looking like RF stuff, so I wonder if this is for the remote finder, which I couldn't find. So I guess I need a remote finder. Wow, these things are never meant to come off of here. Gosh. Maybe we can just take this tape off of here. Now let's see if we can lift this part up. And so there's the keypad part. And the button part. And that is a sticker on there. So I'm guessing that this white paper must act as a diffuser. And the diodes, the LEDs that is, are stuck on the front of the board. There's a bump there. Okay, well, This is probably not the thing to try to take apart, because you can't really peel this guy up. Okay, it's hard to see now, but I just put it back together, put some more tape around this blue plastic, like the part I took off, and it seems flakier now. Not everything's lighting up like it should. Oh, there we go. Just have to smack it. Yeah, okay, so if you have one of these, don't try to take it apart. It's definitely not made to work on. So I guess I'll look for a new universal remote. If you have any suggestions, let me know. Or maybe I can find a working one of these on eBay or someplace. I kind of like it. It's kind of neat. Good news, I found a new inbox. Kameleon Radio Shack 8-in-1 remote, just like the one I had, only it's never been used. You can see the remote finder there with it too. So now I will concentrate on figuring out how to transfer the programming from the old one to the new one. I did find the website for that. These are colloquially known as JP1 remotes, thanks to the label on the connector there. I'll put the link below if you're interested to the website that shows you how to do that. Anyhow, I hope that was helpful. Thing is, not every repair attempt actually works. But you learn something each time. I learned that this was not repairable. Hopefully it'll still turn my TV on and off.